everyone. I'm super excited and honored to be here presenting to you today. So I'm just going to start off by introducing myself so you can know who I am. So I'm Andrea Rustad, and I am from a small town in Minnesota called Stillwater, where Michelle is also from. And I'm currently a senior at Boston University, majoring in chemistry and minoring in dance, French, and biology. I clearly really like science because I've always been really interested in how the world works. So I'm also a huge chemistry nerd, and I always like making science puns. So ask me later if you want to hear any. I also really love doing the arts, and I've been doing ballet my whole life, and over the years I've expanded this into other forms of dance as well as musical theater. I have been dreaming of becoming a doctor for many years now, and I'm really excited that I'll be going to medical school next year, where I can combine my loves of service and science to help people improve their health and just improve people's lives. And in terms of health, I'm also interested in healthy eating and fitness, which is why I'm here to talk to you today about my Instagram blog, Bar and Brunch. And I have some highlights here that just kind of show you what sort of things I post on my blog, so you can see these while I'm presenting. And you might recognize some photo credits here by the first presenter, Kate. So it's kind of funny to me how much this blog has become a part of my identity for people that know me in college, because if you knew me in high school, you would definitely never have expected that I would one day have a blog about healthy eating and fitness. You know the concept of like a swear jar where you have to put money in it every time you say a naughty word? Well, my friend said something like that for me, but it was for every time I would eat dessert for a meal, which was actually very often. And I didn't really eat a lot of vegetables, and my lunches were pretty much like Oreos and things like that. And when I would go to perform with my dance team at football games, I would literally eat a whole entire container of fudge right before, and I have no idea how I managed to do that without throwing up. I never really thought about fitness because I was dancing about 18 hours a week or at synchronized swimming. And so even though I was very active, I definitely was not a paragon of health. I would get sick all the time, and I never really thought about the fact that my diet might be contributing to that. When I first started college, I was only able to fit in dance in my schedule once a week, and I really missed it, and I noticed that I was losing a lot of strength and flexibility, and that made me really upset. And I would try to go to the gym every so often, but I didn't really know what to do when I went there, and I would get really intimidated as a small freshman with all these really buff gym guys around. And I was also trying to navigate, trying all the new foods in the dining hall, all the awesome food options in Boston, while also feeling like I should try to eat healthy. And I definitely had some times where I would feel really negative about myself and my body image. And sometimes I would cycle through days where I would count calories and try to eat really healthy, and then other days where I would eat a whole box of insomnia cookies and then feel really bad about myself afterwards. So it was definitely the struggle of like getting into college and all this new territory. But overall, I was happy and enjoying college, but sometimes I just felt like something was off or something was missing. Then that all changed when the fall of my sophomore year, I was walking by the Target in West Campus, and I saw a sign for a new fitness studio called Bar and Soul. I had heard about bar before from some people in my ballet class and thought it sounded interesting, and I thought might as well give it a try, because that semester was actually the first time I wasn't even able to fit a dance class into my schedule at all. So I was really looking for some way to stay active. I reached out to the studio and talked to the studio manager, Whitney, and came in on a Thursday morning at 7 a.m. to take my first bar class. I really had no idea what to expect, but it was so welcoming, and although the class was super hard and I had to take many breaks, I knew I had discovered something so wonderful. I felt super sore the next day, but I was so enthused about my experience, so I knew I had to go back and try more classes, and I started telling all my friends about how great Bar and Soul was. The studio was new in the area of BU, so Whitney and I came up with the idea that I could be the BU student ambassador and help promote the studio to people in the area and students in exchange for classes. So I started excitedly posting about it on social media, sharing it on Facebook and my Instagram stories every time I went to class. And every time I went to bar class, I felt more confident and stronger about myself. I really loved the mix of strength and flexibility that I also had found in dance, and I was also having a really fun and creative time with the social media aspect as well. And I loved introducing new friends to bar. I also got to know some of the other students in the studio, as well as some of the amazing teachers, including Angel, who came to hear me speak, which is so nice. And I got to meet Andrea, who's actually the owner of the studio as well. It's kind of fun that we have the same name, and she's been a huge inspiration to me as well. I was so thrilled that not only had I found a workout that I loved, I also found a really great community that encouraged and empowered me. The catalyst, chemistry word there, to create my Instagram blog came the summer before my junior year. I was about to move into my new apartment as an RA, where I would have a kitchen for the first time. I hadn't really thought too much about buying groceries and making meals on a regular basis, but it soon became clear to me that if I didn't want to get tired of eating the same thing every day, I had to get creative. I started following some food bloggers on Instagram for inspiration, and I also looked up healthy recipes online. I made a document on my computer compiling a bunch of different recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and desserts that were healthy, simple to make, and had some variety in it. Interestingly enough, the breakfast list soon became the longest one, which is kind of some foreshadowing there. And one day I was at bar class and my mind started wandering a little bit during a super intense set of glute work, which if you've ever taken a bar class, you know that sometimes that can really burn and you just gotta think about anything else to get your mind off of it. I started thinking about what was I gonna make for my next meal, what was I gonna post next as a bar and soul ambassador, and then suddenly it hit me. What if I made a separate Instagram account to combine food and fitness, where I could post about these two things I had become very passionate about? The whole rest of the class, I got so excited thinking about all the different things I could do with such a blog, and I even came up with a fun and creative name, Bar and Brunch, because bar is my favorite workout, and brunch is my favorite food, and alliteration just makes everything better. So, I was a little nervous to start this though, because I wasn't sure how it would be perceived. I didn't really have any authority to speak on health or fitness, and maybe I didn't have a super compelling story, and why would people want to be interested in my blog when there's so many food blogs out there? However, I had noticed that there weren't too many, blogs that combine food and fitness equally, and not many that focused on accessibility and affordability that really college students need. So I thought maybe this could be my audience. I sounded off the idea to a few friends, and they said to go for it. So on July 21st, 2017, I made my new Instagram and posted my first post to announce my new endeavor. I was so pleasantly surprised by how many people commented or told me that they were really excited about it, and it was really encouraging to know that people would be interested in what I had to say, and I loved getting ideas off topics to talk about. I had such a creative fire fueled in me that night, and I just stayed up thinking of all these ideas of what I could do. I would interview people that I knew that had a special interest or experience in health or fitness, like people with severe food allergies or high-level athletes. I would talk about skincare, because as someone who wants to go into dermatology as a doctor, that's also a really big passion of mine. I'd also talk about stretches and workouts that you can do at home, because I know not everyone has the access or resources to go to a gym or fitness classes. Although I'm definitely not an expert on health and nutrition by any means, but all I want to do is to be able to share my experience and what I've learned with other people in the hopes that it might help and inspire them somehow. I have always just wanted my goal for my blog from the beginning to just be to show people that eating healthy and fitness doesn't have to be a boring regimen of salads and treadmills. Eating healthy can be fun and tasty and affordable. I've had so much fun getting to think of all these different recipes, and I really have a sweet tooth, so I believe in treating yourself, but I think that there are also ways that I like finding to make desserts and baking a lot healthier, so that while you can indulge yourself, you're also nourishing your body. I am also very artistic, so I like having fun, like artfully arranging and decorating my food and pictures, but I also try to keep it more realistic with what I post, and so that, not every meal I eat is going to be super aesthetic, and sometimes you go out to eat and get a pastry from Mike's Cannolis, and I think it's important to share that as well, because it's all about balance. And also, as I've become more experienced at cooking, I started making my own recipes in addition to finding some that I see online from other bloggers, which has been pretty exciting. Last fall, I celebrated 1,000 followers, and I was honestly so surprised and so happy to know that this many people had decided to follow along on my personal passion project. It really means so much whenever people comment or message me to tell me that they've tried a workout or a recipe that I've posted, and I really take people's consideration into account. And my Instagram account has really helped me find balance and being a creative outlet as well as just kind of a way for me to share what's going on in my life. And I've had some really great opportunities to work with brands in Boston for fitness and food, as well as being featured in the Boston Globe too, which was really exciting. So I've learned that it never hurts to reach out or branch out. And I actually recently took my love for bar even further by training with Bar and Soul to become a certified bar instructor. And I was inspired by many of the wonderful teachers, and I can't wait to start teaching my own classes. I've been accepted to a few different medical schools, which is so exciting, but I haven't yet decided where I'm going. But I do know that wherever I go, I want to teach bar classes as a fun and flexible way to stay healthy as well as get involved in the community. One goal I have is to start a program to teach regular fitness classes to underprivileged populations, because I think that incorporating fitness and wellness can really help to prevent or alleviate future serious and costly medical conditions. But for many people that don't have the time, location, or resources available, going to the gym or fitness classes just isn't really a viable option. And many of the schools I've interviewed at do have free medical clinics for communities that normally wouldn't be able to access care. So I think that incorporating a fitness class in there would help to kind of build community as well as helping people with their wellness. On the topic of medical school, one thing I've noticed at many of my interviews is that wellness and balance are really brought up by the faculty and students at all these schools, which is so important. Physicians have one of the highest rates of burnout in all professions, and a lot of schools are working to combat this issue by having programming and advising to support students in wellness in all aspects of their life. It makes me feel so much more confident going ahead into this really challenging career, knowing that there will be people in the administration out there looking to help with balance in every aspect. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that you really have to be prioritizing your wellness and recognize what you can and cannot do. I personally always like to push myself to do more, and sometimes you just have to realize that you have limitations. So I always used to schedule myself to do something every waking minute, but now I've come to recognize my limits and make sure that I'm conscious of building in time to breathe. Even though you might feel like you're letting yourself down, I think it's better to make sure that you know you can definitely fulfill your commitments and enjoy doing so. When people ask me the hardest thing about college, I always say it's thinking, what can I say yes to and what do I have to say no to? If you're anything like me, you start college super enthusiastic about all the opportunities, and you go out there and you sign up your emails for all sorts of clubs. However, at some point, you really have to be introspective and think about what can you actually do and what means the most to you. For me, that was continuing to be involved in the arts and being involved in service as well to really get to make a difference and be involved in my new city. And I'm so grateful that I chose to be involved in the clubs that I did, because I've made so many great friends and really grown so much as a person. This is something I'm still working on, and I still do struggle sometimes to think of when I have to say no to a new project or when I have to tell myself to slow down. But I try to regularly practice reflection and gratitude, and although this can be hard when I'm stressed out studying for a test or in the middle of a 6-hour lab, I think it really helps me focus and realize that although I'm facing these challenges, it's just one more step on my goal to becoming a doctor. And I think keeping a positive mindset and persevering are really key, because stress is inevitable, but how you respond to it is really going to determine how successful you can be. Thank you. Balance comes in many forms, and it's different for everyone. You know, bar might not be your thing, but maybe you find strength and clarity through, windsurfing or kickboxing. Whatever it is, just find what makes you feel energized and empowered. And while you're finding wellness, also think about ways to explore your other passions as well. If you're interested in science, start doing research. If you like to dance, find people to dance with. And if you want to make a blog where you're sometimes really extra and take pictures of avocado toast one day and sunscreen the next, go for it, and I will be right there to cheer you on. Fear forces us to learn about our abilities and make choices. Sometimes taking a leap of faith and trying something new and scary uncovers abilities you maybe didn't know you had. You're bound to make mistakes or have people that discourage or doubt you. I was often recommended to rethink going to medical school, and although that made me very frustrated, I channeled that into a new passion and fire to keep going, and kind of kept me motivated through writing countless application essays. You just have to push those naysayers aside and focus on finding support and motivation in yourself and those who believe in you. What I want to leave you with is this. You are always on a journey and a work in progress. learning from all the experiences and people you interact with. Be open-hearted and open-minded. There are always new ways to learn about yourself and the world, new places to explore, and new ways to make yourself a better, stronger, and more full version of you. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope something I said resonated with some of you. And if you like the recipes you saw, you can follow me at Bar and Brunch. I'm also sharing a new sneak peek at a Valentine's Day chocolate cake recipe that is vegan and super delicious and easy to make. So check that out. If you make it, definitely tag me. And if you have any questions about medical school, growing an Instagram, or you just want to hear some of my aforementioned chemistry jokes, definitely feel free to let me know. Thank you so much.